it was when we lost William, our son, I didn't really want to go to London to work again. I wanted to stay with my husband. And I thought, what can I do from home? So I ran a cook. I had an Aga for most of our married life. And I thought, well, I do know more about Agas than most people. And it's a different technique to cook with an Aga. So we started these Aga classes, and Lucy Young came and we did it together. I used to do the morning demonstrations. She did the afternoon. We had it for 12 years, and I did every single session. I didn't ever get anybody else in. They'd come to see me cook, and I would be there. I wouldn't actually remember their names. I used to put the sticker. Lucy used to be by the door and put a sticking label saying Jane Brown. So when they eventually came through to coffee to me, I would say, "Good morning, Jane." And she would think, oh, she's remembered my name. It was just because she had a label.
So great.
Because I'm not very good at remembering names.
No, I'm not. I'm very good with faces. I never forget a face. I actually had one of your Aga cookbooks because when I was about 24, I bought this teeny little cottage and it came with an Aga. And I'd never even seen one. I was 24. I barely cooked. But I loved baking. I've always loved baking. I used to bake with my nan. So I had this Aga and I was like, I don't know what to do with this thing, because obviously they're set at certain temperatures and I was clueless. So I got your Aga cookbook and I absolutely nailed baking in an Aga from your book.
It's different.
It is different, but you can get some beautiful results. So around this time, you've got this nice community of people that are coming to your house. Was that in some way healing with the grief that you were feeling, to have that distraction?
It kept me busy.
Kept you busy.
Kept me busy. And I had my husband and other children about me. So, it's time. And I think the one thing we all told ourselves, how lucky we were to have had William and what a wonderful life he'd given us. And, it's many years now. It's 30 years since he died. And every Christmas we're still saying, having a drink to Will, and our grandchildren all say he was a very good at sport. And I know Hobie was saying when he was doing so well at rugby, William would have been proud of me, wouldn't he? It's really nice. And there are pictures all of him around, and even though the grandchildren didn't know him, they know all about him.
Yeah, that's so lovely.
But some people don't want to do that. They want to forget it and have a new life. But he is still part of our lives.
There's no rule book when it comes to grief.
There's no rule with grief.
You have to do it on your own way.
And I now, when friends, many of my friends at my age are losing the other half. And I always talk about them or find something nice to say. And I think people like that.
Yeah.
I know I did. I loved it if people came up and said, "Oh, Will was such a smashing chap. Wasn't he a good tennis player," or whatever. And, I'm proud. And I think if there is a sadness in the family, to find something nice to say about them, or something we remember about them, it helps people pass the time.
You say in the book that around this time, one of your friends, one of your neighbours, invited you to the Chelsea Flower Show, and you weren't particularly keen at this point on leaving the house, being around other people, but you actually managed to push through.
Yes.
And you went, and you've got no regrets.
I had no regrets. And she asked me, Will died in January, she asked me in January, actually, I've just got 2 tickets or whatever, and I thought, oh, thank you very much, Claire, thank you very much. And then, of course, as it got nearer, I was feeling a bit more outward thinking, and I went and bought a new jacket. And, of course, it really started me off realising that we have to go on.
Yeah.
And, of course, Chelsea is something that is such a good day out.
Do you still love going?
Oh, yes, I'm there for a couple of days this year.
So good. I've only been once, but I loved it. It's just a feast of colour and creativity. It's so beautiful.
A lot of ideas that you can copy. And when you see the height of certain plants, you remember that, which are the ones to put at the front of the border and which are the ones to put at the back. And that's what I've learnt in my gardening life, To begin with, I would, just go to the nursery, get a plant and not bother to read how tall it got. And, things weren't... And also, because we have quite a big bed, gardening bed, I always buy 3. One looks a bit lost.
Yeah.
And a group always looks better in 3s or 5s or whatever. Depends what it is.
I've dog-eared a page in your book here, Mary, because it says on page 114, I'm addicted to ferns.
Oh, sweet.
There it is in print. What is it about ferns that you love? I mean, there are loads of ferns. People don't realise this. There's so many varieties. What do you love about ferns?
I really love ferns because they like shade.
Yes.
They like shade, they like damp. So if you've got a wet part of the garden, I think they don't need too much looking after.
No.
I cram them in there and we do water them.
Yes.
I remember going to Highgrove years ago, the king, he was Prince Charles's garden, and they had a lot of ferns there, and it was very damp around them. They really do, to start with, the first few years, they need to be damp. Once they're fully rooted, they can manage without so much water. But I know that the more I water mine, because they're only 2 or 3 years old, the better they are.
Yeah, I relate. I drink a lot of water and I'm low maintenance. I just am. I'm just like the plant.
I do not drink a lot of water.
I know. I remember this about you. When we did that TV show together, we made a roulade. We had, I think I was grabbing a glass of water and I think you told me you don't drink it.
No, but my mother was 105.
Which is mad.
And she had water at lunch and water with supper and nothing else. And I don't drink a lot of water. Mind you, I don't race about an awful lot. You're at a fast pace and running and things like that. But I don't drink an awful lot. But you must do what your doctor says and what you're advised. Don't listen to me. But you can listen to me about gardening, but not about how much water.
Otherwise, my parents don't ever drink it. They drink about 20 cups of tea a day, but no water. They can't stand it. They don't like the nothingy taste of it.
Well, it's liquid, isn't it?
It's just that you just got to chug it down and get on with it. Let's talk about your mum being 105 is something we can't breeze over because that is a substantial number we're talking here. You're 91, your mum was 105. You've obviously got something, and your dad lived into his, was it late 80s?
Yes, early 80s actually.
Early 80s.
I think genes are very important.
Yes.
And if you've got your health, which thank God I have, and I do the things that I should do, and I eat sensibly, I'm very fortunate. But in the back of it, it's your genes.
Do you think there's something to be said for having a passion? I often think look at David Attenborough, who's just turned 100.
Oh.
I feel like his passion is something that gets him out of bed every day. It's just been this constant throughout his life. I think there's something to be said for having great passions. I mean, you've got many.
Having passion, yes, definitely, or having a purpose, and I do think it's important to contribute in this life. If you live in a village or a street, to know your neighbours, to be aware. If there's one 2 doors down and she's rather old, can you put the bins out for them? It's contributing. I say that because yesterday our help was away and we had very heavy bins and our builder was passing and he said, I see the bins are out, can I put yours out? It's contributing.
Lovely. That's so wonderful. Did you quiz your mum much about her longevity? And
not really, but I was quite close to my mum and she did look after an awful lot of people. She She started the Friends of the RUH hospital in Bath because she suddenly realised, this was a long time ago, that the beds had no curtains round. So whenever anything was in a ward, everybody could see what was going on. So she knew some of the doctors, and she got hold of all the surgeons and doctors' wives and said, do you realise that the service in the hospital's wonderful, but could we not club together and raise money for the little extra things in the hospital?
Too right.
And she did, and it's still going now.
How wonderful. That's so amazing.
And the coffee shop she started.
No way.
So, it's contributing, doing things, helping.
Yeah.
A busy mind is a happy person.